What is this thing? I see elements of a few watches here, all smashed together, and it somehow works. Guys, I know we were gonna talk about the Orient Bambino, the new salmon one this week, but I just got two really awesome watches in the mail and we gotta bump the schedule to talk about them. So let's cover this notice first, and then in the second half of the video, we're gonna crack into this box because there's something really special in here. Hey guys, I'm Max and this is WatchCrunch. Well, it's that time of the year again. It's time for the third annual March Microbrand Madness at WatchCrunch. Every year, the WatchCrunch community chooses our favorite microbrands to go in daily head-to-head matchups to crown a winner. This year, we've got like 64 teams. So head over to WatchCrunch and cast your vote. Is it a bird? Is it a plane? No, it's the new Notice Raven collaboration called the Trail Trekker. So we've had a lot of like celebrity collabs with watch brands, but two brands together, what is the deal? Well, see, these two brands have a deep working relationship, and in celebration of that, they created this bastard stepchild that looks really awesome. At a glance, it's an $875 Traveler GMT. That's a pretty good start. But the case has elements of 5-digit Rolex, specifically the Explorer 2, with its fixed steel 24-hour bezel. But the case and bracelet are DLC coated in a rich gray color that Notice calls clay. It's this matte, earthy gray that looks really mysterious. And DLC is a stronger coating than PVD. So this watch not only looks the part, but it also should hold up just as well outdoors. There are twisted faceted lugs, prominent crown guards, and a knurled screw-down crown that communicates ruggedness and backs it up with 200 meters of water resistance. This watch also just has perfect proportions. I mean, for me, perfect. 39 millimeters wide, 12 millimeters thin, with a lug to lug under 47. And the lugs are just nicely curved so that it just hugs your wrist. It's a modern watch with classic proportions. Because of the sloping bezel, it'll duck easily behind sleeves, but it has plenty of wrist presence. Okay, onto the dial. It's still that creamy brown gray, but here I see a heavy dose of TUDOR. The square hour markers remind me of the Snowflake Submariner, and the yellow GMT hand reminds me of the Black Bay Pro. But it's got this sort of stylistic cutoff tip, which is interesting. But the dial isn't just a ripoff of a known design. There are many subtle choices if you look closer. The 3 and 9 markers, they're not rectangles, they actually are pentagons. There's a trapezoidal date window at the 6, where all date windows should live in my book. And the chapter ring is actually divided into 2 color tones, top and bottom. The hands, as well as the hour markers, have gunmetal surrounds for the extra tactical look. And everything lives under a boxed sapphire crystal with an extra dose of blue AR. All these little details you're not used to seeing coming from microbrands. It shows you that this isn't their first rodeo, and these guys really paid attention to all the small details in the process. Okay, but you know, if I'm gonna review a watch, I'm gonna find something I don't like. And if we turn the watch over, yikes, we get this large mural of a Old West wagon. What is this all about? Well, it's supposed to tell the story of the connection between Raven, which is based in Kansas, and Notice in LA, but it's quite on the nose. I mean, I think a map would have done the trick, but I guess they were really trying to keep the case thin, and plus it's on the back, so you don't have to really look at it when you wear the watch. Just be thankful it's not like a disemboweled horse or something more grotesque. The bracelet is very wearable, and the coating actually makes the whole thing feel more warm to the touch. And it ends in their proprietary Note X clasp, which has a built-in micro extension. Now, they've been evolving this clasp for a while now. It's shorter and more wearable in its current state, but it's still just a little bit bulky with a little bit of a lip, and I think they're gonna continue to make it more compact over time. But these are all just small niggles I can live with. The big picture is that we get a jump hour GMT employing the new Miyota 9075 movement in a perfect case, shape, and size for me, with looks to kill for sub $900. This is the watch I would get if I wanted a cheaper Black Bay Pro that wore better, or I can see this going toe-to-toe with the new Hodinkee Longines Spirit GMT at like less than half the price. I honestly haven't been able to take this off my wrist since I got it, and I'm just speechless at what microbrands are pulling off these days. Okay, for our second course. This is the new VPC Type 37HW. If you think that's a mouthful, try reading the Latin on the dial. This is the brainchild of Fratello writer Thomas Van Straten, and he took us on a multi-year journey designing, manufacturing, and bringing this watch to market. Color me impressed. This does not feel like a first attempt. This is the real deal. The finishing is extremely well done, and the watch feels solid in the hand. But compared to the Notice, you get a sense that this watch takes itself very seriously. This is not a watch that smiles at children passing by. This is not a watch that's gonna laugh at your dad jokes. Instead, what you get is precision. All the lines are sharp, all the facets are clean. The VPC claims that this is a watch for all occasions, but I'm getting a definite dose of dressy vibes. The dial has a very classic appearance with long dolphin hands that point at elegant lume blocks making up the hour markers. There's a traditional small second subdial with a 6, and in this colorway, the main dial has this kind of gritty blue texture contrasted with a silvery subdial. You can tell in the dial design, great restraint was exercised and the principle of less is more was kept. Another cool element is that the crystal sits almost completely proud of the case, and the dial is raised almost flush with the flat brushed bezel. This is a really cool illusion. It makes you feel like there's a drop of water over the top of the watch. Restraint, again, was the name of the game for proportions. It's 37 millimeters wide and just 10 millimeters thick. And that's thanks to the use of a manual Sellita SW216 movement. And the movement is cost certified, and you better be cost certified if you're charging 2,500 euros for your watch. That's a serious price for a very serious watch. But a manual caliber that lives under a screw down crown. I've not seen that before. And you guys let me know if that's counterintuitive, but I don't know if that would get annoying after a while. The bracelet is also quite nice. It's sort of this president style with rounded links, and the clasp is really solid milled with plenty of graphics to keep your eyes busy. It hides an easy link-like extension mechanism within. You know, the design element that I find the most controversial is this lug hood that they built. So in order to hide the interface between the in-link and the case, what they done was to stretch the case out so that there's this flat planar lug hood. Okay, cool, nice thought, interesting design choice, but I don't know, the large, polished, curved surface just feels very modern. It feels very kind of futuristic. And my eyes are having trouble reconciling that with the very classic looking dial. But hey, what do I know? I didn't design a watch from scratch. The important part is Thomas took risks with this design, and he didn't make something boring, and you gotta give him credit for that. And some of the design elements might not be for everyone, but it's nevertheless an exciting watch. We also got to peek behind the curtains during the entire process, so that's pretty awesome. I have very little respect for companies that take someone else's design, send it to a factory, put their own name on the dial. That's not watchmaking to me. Both watches from this week use design cues from the past, but they gave us something that we've never seen before, and they should be celebrated for that. But guys, what do you think about this pair? Share your thoughts with me on WatchCrunch. I'll see you in the next one.